Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the Scabbard tonight. It's a busy night for the Buffalo Sabres, especially. Not as busy a night in the world of hockey. Not as many games tonight as you would expect on a Saturday night, but a decent schedule nonetheless. There's one game currently going. That's the LA Kings leading the Montreal Canadiens 2-0 in at the end of the second period. So one more period to go in that game, and one game in the books, which is the Bruins. Uh-oh. Push the panic button for the Bruins. They've lost 2 in a row in regulation, a 7-4 loss to the New York Rangers, who are now tied and actually leading the Bruins as far as, rankings in the conference because the Rangers have played one less game this season. So, um, Rangers now tied with the Bruins at 31 points on the season in one less game played. Again, a 7-4 victory, a comprehensive victory. Chris Kreider had a couple goals. VC, former Saber, Jimmy VC with a goal and an assist, and Keandre Miller with a goal as well in the victory for the Rangers, which is important because we're playing the Rangers on Monday, and they are firing on all cylinders. That's going to be an interesting game for the Buffalo Sabres. Again, it's on the road as the Sabres continue their road trip. But there's lots of news for Buffalo. Actually, let me get the rest of the schedule for the evening. So 7 o'clock, starting with our game. The Penguins are in Toronto to take on the Maple Leafs. The Flyers are on the island to take on the Islanders at 7:30. At 10 o'clock, the Flames and the Avalanche meet. Probably the hockey night in Canada late start. Maybe the Canucks and Sharks, which starts at 10 o'clock as well. And then the Coyotes are in Vegas to take on the Golden Knights. That's the night in hockey. Um, but yeah, a very busy day for the Buffalo Sabres. Lots of news, lots of flux. We heard last night that Isak Roseanne had been called up following scoring a overtime winning goal. The last two games for the Rochester Americans have been overtime games against the Laval Rocket, and uh, you know, first game goal scoring winner was Yuri Kulik in on Wednesday. Last night it was Isak Roseanne getting the overtime winner. We heard that he was going to be called up because there were some injuries um, in the Pittsburgh game, and we'll get to that in a moment. But uh, this afternoon, we started getting word that it was not just Isak Roseanne coming up, but it was Uri Kulik. So they are both called up. Zemgus Girgensons was injured last night in that fracas, the one where Peyton Krebs took the gloved punch to the face by Chris Letang. He's out week to week with a lower body injury, and Jordan Greenway remains out of the lineup due to personal reasons. So he'll be Greenway is definitely out tonight, and the Monday game um, versus the Rangers. So it left two roster spots open for the Sabres to bring in two players. So they called up Uri Kulik and Isak Roseanne, and what I call him Rosé. My spelling fails me sometimes, but it is Isak Roseanne getting the start tonight for the Buffalo Sabres. Let's go to the stat of the night. The 3 goals of the third period marked the first time that the Sabres had a comeback in the third period, of a game this season. So, good on the Sabres. We'll jump right into the Pens game review 'cause, again, they did the 11-7 thing. I railed on that enough last night. I think it's unconscionable when you are, an hour away from your farm team that you're not calling out players to bring into your lineup so you don't have to do these weird roster machinations. And you could tell the first 2 periods, there was just no flow to the offense at all. Um, it was very boring, very uninspired play. I described it as a river of garbage flowing into a sea of nuclear waste. Those first 2 periods were just awful. Um, and you know, 2 massive turnovers there, one at the end of the first period. I think goals were scored last night almost at the identical time of the periods. A bad turnover by, Samuelson, he was on his backhand, his stick was hit when he tried to pass the puck up the, ice, and it went, Jake Gensel fed Sidney Crosby for a wide open shot down the middle, beats Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Then in the second period, towards the end of the third period, last night's game was rough. It was rough to watch that first period, or first and second period of the Sabres game. Yeah, that was just awful. Thanks for watching, Jasper. I appreciate it. Um, so yeah, the third period comes around, and wow, something that sparked this team. Um, you can point to that sucker punch by Letang that kind of galvanized the team. They still kind of had that shaky end of the period with the bad turnover, and it felt like Buffalo was going to skate to another loss. So I'm playing off the profit meme there, but something happened in the third period. Alex Tuck said that Kyle Poso, Sabres captain, had an impassioned speech for them to just go, just turn on the offense, to skate with confidence, um, and they did. The third period was very entertaining. They were on the front foot. They were attacking the goal, and it wasn't just getting the yeah, that first goal by Jeff Skinner on the power play. That was great. That kind of helped a lot of people relax in the audience. I mean, the Sabres got booed off the ice in the second period. I mean, it wasn't like a huge boo, but there was quite a few boo birds in the audience as they came off the ice for the second period. Tuck intimated that it did kind of piss them off, but it was rather uninspired hockey those first two periods, and I can't blame the fans paying a ton of money to go see a hockey game and not getting their money's worth. Really, um, the boo was rude. Honestly, I think if I don't blame the fans for that boo. I think it was kind of at the proper level. It wasn't like just, thousands of people booing. There's, some boo birds in the stands, and they made it clear that the hockey that they're watching was not worth what they paid for it. And to Alex Tuck's credit, he did mention that in the game, saying, you know, it's it's expected, and, for fans that are paying a lot of money and the ticket prices are rather expensive, and to come out and see that product in the first 2 periods, I don't blame fans for doing that, to let the players know that what they did the first 2 periods was not acceptable. It lit a fire under the players. Kyle Poso speaks up. They get loose in the 3rd period, and they delivered a victory. The game tying goal by Kyle Okposo that went off of Eric Carlson's stick. Um, you know, uh, Okposo was probably the best forward. One of the probably three best forwards of the night up until that point were Zach Benson, Peyton Krebs, and Kyle Okposo. Kyle Okposo had three just gilt edge scoring chances that went begging. The good saves by Nedeljkovic, but uh, he gets the flute goal off of Eric Carlson's stick from a bad angle, um, rewarded for his play. Yeah, I'm sure he was thinking that that wasn't how he was envisioning that he was going to score in that game. That those other three chances he might have banged one in, but yeah, boos are a wake up call. But for the Bruins, how often do they get booed? I mean, I guess what was this game at TD Garden? No, it was at MSG. So, um, but how often do the the Bruins get booed in the regular season? Yeah, they've had a couple rough outings. I'm not worried about the Bruins long term, although it may be the curse of Milan Lucic. I don't know. Maybe it's been transferred from the Sabres to the Bruins. But yeah, that's the proper response is for a team if they get booed, they need to respond by cleaning up their game, playing better, playing with more effort, more passion. Even if they end up losing the game, at least turning their play around. Um, but I'll tell you one thing: if they follow up last night's effort in the third period with a clunker tonight, then everything that happened, all that good feelings and all the positive energy and emotion that came out of that win, for nothing. absolutely nothing because um, that's the problem with this team is they haven't been able to replicate enough to be able to drive themselves to sustain a winning streak. They've had a couple two gamers, but they are on a point streak right now. They've got points in four straight games, and so you know the time is now. The Sabres are at the quarter pole of the season, 21 games in out of an 82 game season. So roughly the quarter pole, a little more than the quarter pole of the season. Um, where they're at compared to last season, they were just coming out of that 8 game losing streak. They had a couple stirring wins going into that Thanksgiving holiday, and were at 9-11 last season for 18 points. And currently this season, same number of games, but they are now 9-2 with 20 points on the season, so a couple points better, which is good because we know what happened. They missed the playoffs by 1 point. So now let's go for uh, you know, hopefully they'll have a December like they had last season. Continue to play well and play well on the road. It's going to be a difficult road to hoe, and I will go over the schedule coming up. But tonight's opponent are the New Jersey Devils, and we played the New Jersey Devils late in October. Lost to them 5-4. Um, it was a back and forth game. The Sabres defense was just not good. 'Cause several breakaways on I believe it was UPL in no, Milan Lucic is, kind of with the Bruins. Kind of kind of with the Bruins. He was signed by the Bruins in the offseason. He is now on the non well, he was injured, not, on injured reserve, but now he is on the non-hockey playing list. He was arrested, about a week before Thanksgiving for, allegedly, choking and, hitting his wife. Um, and just pled not guilty to charges about a week ago, and so we'll see what happens with Milan Lucic. I think it's the trial starts in January or whatever they're going to do. There's going to be some kind of legal matter in January. Um, but yeah, that was a very interesting story to come out. And then when that story came out, there were a lot of people who shared the Ryan Miller quote. Um, about Milan Lucic after Milan Lucic had run him hard enough to give him a concussion. And a lot of people point to that moment when Ryan Miller was run with no response by the Sabres as the start of the downfall, the 12 years without playoffs. Um, so we're hoping that the curse has been transferred off of us onto Boston, but and they've lost a couple games here, so maybe that's happened. I don't know. But, so let's talk about the New Jersey Devils. They're 8-9-1, surprisingly 7th in the Metro division. They're 2-7 in their last 9 games. What has happened is they've had losses to not Luke Hughes, Jack Hughes, their top scorer, and Nico Hischier. We may remember that injury was Connor Clifton hitting Nico Hischier in the head, resulting in Clifton getting a 2 game suspension. He sure still has not returned to the team. Hughes is back. He injured his shoulder a couple games later after that Buffalo game and against the St. Louis Blues, and had been out for a few games. And the team has really just taken a nosedive since then. Tyler Toffoli leads the team in goals. Hughes still leads the team in assists. He has had a goal and an assist in 3 games since he's returned. Um, uh, and Jesper Bratt leads the team in points, 1 point ahead of Hughes in that lead there. Goaltending is an issue for the Devils. They're both of their goaltenders are sub 900 save percentage and well over 3 goals allowed per game. The thing with the Devils, though, is that they have the best power play in the league, and the Sabers. Um, they're without their big penalty killers, Tage Thompson, Zemgus Girgensons, Jordan Greenway. All three guys spend a lot of time on the PK. So we'll get to that in a bit. But let's talk about the forward lines projected for the New Jersey Devils. Tyler Toffoli, Jesper Bratt, and centered by by Jack Hughes. Andre Palat, Eric Holla, and Alexander Holtz on the second line. Dalton Mercer, uh, Freddie McLeod, and Nathan Bastian on that third line. Smith, Tierney, and Max Willman on the fourth line. For the defense, we got Jonas Siegenthaler and Douglas Hamilton. You won't catch me calling him his real first name, or at least what he wants, because it annoys me. Ball and Marino on that second line, and Luke Hughes, the younger Hughes brother, is playing with former Saber alert Colin Miller. Colin Miller was traded to the Devils in the offseason after playing pretty well for the Dallas Stars last season. Um, Kind of stabilizing the back end for the New Jersey Devils. He started the season on injured reserve and has just been back for a couple games. So at least on the back end, the New Jersey Devils are starting to get a little bit healthy. Um, we are facing a Vitek Vanacek as the goaltender who's reported as the starter. Akira Schmidt played the um, Columbus game on last night. They lost to Columbus 2-1, which is kind of shocking. Um, Columbus has been kind of awful this season. So, um, Devil scratches tonight. We've got Nico Heischer still on the IR. Timo Meyer has started skating for the New Jersey Devils, but still out. And it appears that Curtis Lazar is out. So that would have been a former Saber alert, but doesn't look like he'll be playing for the Devils. Sabres projected forward lines. The problem is we haven't heard anything. And with the removal of Greenway and Gergensons off of any projected lines, we're not sure who's going to be skating with who. We just know that Roseanne and Kulik will be playing tonight, and it will be 12-6. Happy day. Appreciate it. Our defense pairings. So with playing 12-6, it means one of the defensemen that have been playing the last few games is not, and that person is Henry Yoki Haru. Don Granato said at his 5:30 press conference that it's not regarding Henry's play. He just thought that these players were playing well together. Especially he liked his bottom two pairing, and really had no reason to pull Ryan Johnson off of his. I think Johnson's been a very steady defender. Didn't look at last night's goals, but I still think that he has not been on the ice for a goal against yet. So, and knock on wood that stays true because, yeah, Ryan Johnson's played really well, and I'm not surprised that we had to have that tough conversation with one of the defensemen. But I do think that we're going to see a little bit of a rotation to give some of these guys tonight out, especially as we're on this road trip. Tonight's goalie, it was originally reported that Devin Levi would be starting, which confused me, but now it is Eric Comrie is the announced starter uh, by Granato at the 5:30 press conference, so he'll be in net. Levi will be backing up. Our scratches tonight will be UPL, who I thought played a phenomenal game yesterday. 31 of 33 shots stopped, or 32 of 34 shots stopped to get the victory, and really kept the Sabres in there when they played like ass for 2 periods. Um, let's see tonight's odds. I haven't even looked at tonight's odds. Let's take a look together at the tonight's odds via DraftKings. It'll take a moment. There we go, DraftKings. But let's do tonight's player profile while we're doing this. Alex Tuck. Let me get that up as well. He is former draft pick of the Minnesota Wild. Yeah, he was draft pick 18th overall, 2014 in the Minnesota Wild. Spent a couple of years with the Wild. Was unprotected in the expansion draft for the Vegas Golden Knights, who put him on that original team. Um, was in the minors early in his NHL career with the Vegas Golden Knights, but he ended up actually Tuck was not picked in the expansion draft. He was part of a package that that the Vegas Golden Knights had arranged, so they would have the Wild would lose a specific player off their roster, which I believe was Eric Halla, who they're playing tonight, who's playing tonight for New Jersey. Um, but Tuck was traded to the Vegas Golden Knights, and then he came up early in the season of that kind of magical run season for the Vegas Golden Knights. That first season um, had a glorious chance in the Stanley Cup final. Um, and was absolutely robbed by Braden Holtby. It's still referred to as the save by the Caps, as the Caps went on to win the Stanley Cup that year. He came over to the Buffalo Sabres as a result of the Jack Eichel trade, which we all know. Um, and yeah, great trade. The guy's a local. Fan of Timmy Connolly. Family lived next door to Tim Connolly. Um, he's a heart and soul guy that I think is key to bringing into the into the dressing room, because for Buffalo, the big thing is people saying that they didn't want to come play for the Buffalo Sabres. They don't, the organization had been beaten up over the whole Jack Eichel situation. To bring a guy in here who is fully committed to being a Buffalo Sabre, fully committed to improving this team, uh, I think really kind of changed the psyche of the team. So it was a very important trade, to not just the fact that we got rid of Jack Eichel and moved on from that, but we got something in here that kind of cleared the air of the whole stench of the Jack Eichel debacle. Um, Not only that, we got some really good draft picks and pieces out of that. Noah Ostlund and Peyton Krebs. So, and I think people have been banging on Peyton Krebs, but I thought he played a phenomenal game the other night or last night. And hey, Sophia Adam, I appreciate you dropping in on Twitch. If you're out there, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, please give it a like, share, subscribe, smash whatever button is available to you. I appreciate all the support you can give me. I thank you for watching us, and if you have any questions, please drop us a line. Um, but yeah, the tonight's odds for the game for DraftKings, play responsibly. The Sabres are getting goal and a half, so they are the road dogs on this game. Underdogs, you get a goal and a half if you bet the Sabres, and the over under is 6.5, which if you go off the last game is very attainable because it was a 9 goal game. So, um, but yeah, again, bet responsibly. The Sabres goal and a half underdogs to the Devils tonight, which is interesting in that really the Devils are the team that are on the back foot. But there's so much flux with the Sabres tonight. It's I understand that it'll be kind of hard for them to um, give the Sabres the Sabres got this. I never liked the Devils. I'm not a big fan of the Devils either, especially the years of the trap that they foisted upon this league and Lou Lamoriello, the Dark Lord. Um, never never was a big fan of the Devils play. All right, 3 keys to the game tonight. Replicate that 3rd period for 3 periods. That's it. Play on the front foot. Don't, we saw in that 2nd period power play, that they were very hesitant. They passed. They had good puck possession, which was, remarkable. They won the faceoff on the power play, which is great. Um, but it was too much to the outside. There wasn't enough pressure down the middle, and then um, one of the Drew O'Connor had his stick broken, so you essentially had 3.5 players on the ice defending this power play, and there really wasn't enough pressure on that power play to actual shot pressure to threaten the goal. They played much more direct in that 3rd period. You saw with the power play again. Be direct. The second thing is to limit Hughes's chances. Hughes had like 1 chance in that game against Buffalo in October, and he buried it. He is a phenomenally talented player. I don't know what his status is with his shoulder. That was injured in the St. Louis game. Did he come back too soon? He hasn't really scored much in the 3 games. He had a goal and assist in this first game back, but hasn't scored since. And the Devils have been offensively challenged since both he and Heischer have been out. And then don't chase the game. Don't be disciplined in this game. This is of the games that you have to be disciplined in. And the Sabres have been relatively disciplined in their games where they've taken penalties. Usually it's two guys going off at the same time type deal. They're it feels like they're averaging about 2 penalties a game that they have to defend. But the thing is, New Jersey has a deadly power play, still like 36%, first in the league. And the Sabres are without many of their main PK guys, Thompson, Gergensons, Greenway. So you're going to have new guys on that PK that really haven't had a whole lot of time to get used to the PK roller and enhanced versus the first PK unit or power play unit of some teams. So got to be disciplined tonight. I think that's the key. I will be interested to see what roles the Sabres give to guys like Kulik and Roseanne. Are they going to get some power play time on that? Maybe the second power play unit. Um, that would be interesting because if you watch any of the Rochester Americans highlights, these guys are. They're the dynamic duo. It's Batman and Robin, man. They are feeding off of each other, and uh, I think this is gonna be good. I hope so. I'm not gonna be disappointed they don't score tonight, but, I think this is gonna be a net positive for the team, and it may force the team to actually make some hard decisions, on some players. I know I bagged on Victor Olofsson a lot, um but, yeah, I will say that his game has picked up in the last night, he played like a house of fire. He had 2 assists, but beyond that, his play towards the end of the game when they had him on the ice, which, I saw him on the ice, I was like, "Why do you have Victor Olofsson on the ice at the end of the game?" He was dogging the Pittsburgh players, and Pittsburgh never really got set up for any chance to tie the game, there late in the game. So, I think he's taking his I think he understands that there there's something coming. So, either he can play really well and get himself set up for his future of, maybe playing for another team or keep his place in the roster. Um, we'll see. I'm happy to see him playing well. But he does tend to have this ability to play well for like a 10 game spread, and then we don't see him for a while. So keep it up, and hopefully we'll see more more victories coming in the coming days. On this date, November 25th, 1970, so going way back into the first season. In the first major in-season trade in franchise history, the Sabres acquired Eddie Shack and Hockey Hall of Famer Dick Duff. Both guys played on those early '60s Toronto powerhouse teams. Dick Duff ended up going to Montreal and playing some of those late '60s Montreal teams. From the At that time, they were both playing for the Los Angeles Kings. Mike McMahon went the other way from Buffalo. He had about a 12-game stretch with the Sabres before he got dealt. Um, but it was a pretty good steal for the Buffalo Sabres. Shaq and Duff contributed for a couple of seasons for the Sabres early on, bringing in veteran experience, bringing in Stanley Cup experience. Um, I think helped the team, and kind of have a meteoric rise to the point where within 5 seasons they're playing for the Stanley Cup. So um, that is this date in hockey history for the Buffalo Sabres, November 25th. 1970, so 52 years ago, or 53 years ago. Sorry. Math is not my friend. All right, on the farm, let's do the farm report. Rochester. Rochester is 10-4-2 on the season with the second, which is second in the NHL North or AHL North. They beat Laval last night 3-2 in overtime. Isaac Roseanne, as we talked about earlier, Roseanne with the OT winner. Kulik had 2 assists in the game. They traveled to Lehigh Valley, which is a Philadelphia Phantoms top farm club tonight without Roseanne and Kulik. So be interesting to see how they cope with that. They are getting a lot of healthy players back, Jobst and Brett Murray and guys like that. So um, good to see that for the Americans, although they're going to lose a lot off of their top line tonight. And down on the farm in Jacksonville in the ECHL, they are 6-6-2, fifth in the Eastern Conference South Division of the ECHL. They beat the Florida Everblades, which I love that nickname. That is a great nickname. Which is the Florida Panthers ECHL affiliate, 2-1 last night. Tonight they host the Savannah Ghost Pirates. Um, I like that nickname. And if you get a chance, go to the ECHL website. They've got the ECHL All Star game jerseys up there, which is being hosted in Savannah this year. Really cool. If you like that Stars black with neon green look, you're gonna love these jerseys. And I do. I like that. I like that look. Very very striking. But the Ghost Pirates are hosting the ECHL All Star game in January. So the week ahead for the Buffalo Sabres, the Monday is going to be at the Rangers, Thursday at St. Louis, and Saturday wrapping up the road trip and the long stretch of road games with that the Pittsburgh home game mixed in Saturday in Carolina before they return home Sunday to take on the Nashville Predators. That'll be a tough one for the Sabres to come back and play on Sunday, after a long road trip, so that might be a trap game for the Sabres. Hopefully, they can stack some points this week, although it's very tough competition. You got the, first place Rangers, first place Hurricanes. St. Louis may be a little bit, may be having kind of a wishy-washy season, but, we've never really played really well in St. Louis. I saw him play in St. Louis back in my first ever Sabres game. I saw him play in St. Louis in 1999, 2-2 draw. So back in the era of ties. Our next episode is Monday night at 8 p.m. Or I'm sorry, 6 p.m. I can tell time. They are playing the Rangers on Monday night, as I mentioned before. So join us at 6 p.m. for the next episode of the Scabbard. And if you want to become a co-host of the show, reach out to me on my socials. If you're watching this on Facebook, you got my socials there. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment. I'll reach out to you. Um, and if you love to talk hockey, I invite you to come talk hockey with me. So um, specifically Buffalo Sabres hockey, but anyway, that's the show for the evening. Go watch the MSG broadcast with Duffer and Marty, or Brian Koziel and Hamilton on the radio on WGR for your pregame shows. Appreciate everybody watching tonight on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. This show is nothing without you all, and I appreciate the comments. And we will talk to you all on Monday night. Have a good one, everybody. Go Sabres.